Good morning, welcome to TNT as a sky train goes past up there. So I'm poised in a little cafe, not that little as you can see, on Sukhumvit Road and looking down on the traffic, which once again, just a quick look, it's already very heavy at this very early time of the morning. But it's great to have you with us, and I really appreciate you dropping in to check out TNT on a Wednesday, the middle of the week, as some people call it, Hump Day. We've got plenty to talk about, and I suppose a lot of what we're speaking about in the early part of today's program is framed by the floods and the looming problem that Bangkok has over the next few days. It's not really known exactly what's going to happen, but we'll go through some of the issues and also some of the flooding in other parts of the country as we get stuck into this Wednesday on TNT. So we'll start Wednesday's coverage here in Bangkok and on The Nation, reporting that Bangkok to be hit by more heavy rain. And well, as usual, The Nation going out of their way with some excellent video coverage. Seems to be an expanding part of their news at the moment, moving solidly into video, showing some of the problems around Bangkok over the past few days. And different parts of the city have been affected, most notably though north of the city centre. So this video coverage from The Nation. It also reports that rising tides may force Chao Phraya to overflow, this warning from the BMA. So let's get into this issue, because this is the key issue we have to confront at the moment. Bangkok's riverside communities have been warned of the possibilities of the Chao Phraya River overflowing this week due to rising tides coupled with runoffs and heavy rain. So the BMA has issued the warning yesterday, saying that higher sea tides may make the river flow from Wednesday to next Thursday. Okay, and down the bottom there, the Chao Phraya may rise from 1.7 to 2 metres above median sea level. So that's pretty high, and you can imagine a lot of riverside communities will be inundated if the water does get that high. So this is the situation we mentioned last week, that this was a possibility when Nauru was coming through and we had all that rain dropped in the northeast, the north and the centre of Thailand. So you've got all this water rushing down from the middle of the country, trying to make its way into the Gulf of Thailand. And as the BMA have said, we've got rising tides in the Gulf of Thailand this week, Wednesday and Thursday they've noted. And then you've got also some rain here in Bangkok. Now, it didn't rain a lot yesterday around where I was. There were minor floods. Monday was a lot worse. On Monday evening there was some very heavy rainfall, including, I think I read, it was 142 millimetres in Chai Watana, which is up where the main immigration office is in Bangkok. 144 millimetres. The average rainfall in Bangkok throughout the year, if you average out across the year, is around about 120 millimetres per month. Well, they had 144 millimetres in just one day in Chai Watana. And going to our next coverage from Thai PBS, who have done extensive coverage, widespread flooding in Chiang Mai as the Ping River breaches, heavy rain and extensive road flooding in Bangkok on Monday. Some of the cars really struggling there. Chai Watana, as I mentioned, area worst hit by Monday night's downpour. And another story, they've done some extensive coverage. The Passak River expected to overflow into 4 central provinces of Thailand. Let's go to that story. And the Passak River expected to overflow into 4 central provinces of Thailand. And that is going to affect Ayutthaya, Chainat, Uthai Thani and Lopburi. So a lot of water heading down from the centre of Thailand. Now, some people contacted me yesterday and said, all that water in the northeast of Thailand, what we call the Isan region, we're talking about Ubon Ratchathani, Sisaket, which got heavily impacted by torrential rain during the Nauru tropical depression last week, a lot of that water is going to flow into the Mekong River, which is the border, or part of that northeastern border for Thailand. So this is actually where a lot of the water, not so much from the Isan region, but you can see all the way from Chiang Mai, Chiang Rai, up the top there, bordering Burma and Laos, and it's flowing and making its way down right through the centre of Thailand. And you've got the Passak River there, the Nan River, the Ping River, and of course a lot of it filtering into the Chao Phraya River, and that's all going to make its way into Bangkok, or that's exactly where it's forcing itself. Now, nothing can really stop this. You can try and sandbag some of the banks, you can reinforce them, but that water is trying to get as far as it can into a lower area, that being the delta where Bangkok is built, and of course then into the Gulf of Thailand. So this next couple of days is when most of that water is going to be coming down the Chao Phraya, and if it matches a high tide and some heavy rain in Bangkok, then that's why they're predicting we will probably be having some problems. So it's Wednesday here, and great to have you dropping in on TNT. Thank you so much for your support. If you'd like to support, it doesn't cost you any money. You just have to subscribe to the channel. YouTube does the rest by sending this video out to other people to check out if they wish. So just subscribing, clicking below would really help. You're not going to be annoyed, unless of course you want to get some alerts, and then you can do that as well. So that would really help us. Thanks also to 5 Star Marine down there in Phuket. If you are in the Southern Island and you'd like to do a day trip to one of the islands, can't recommend anybody better than 5 Star Marine on one of their magnificent little Lucas boats. Okay, to our next story now, and we spoke about one of the upcoming prospects for next year's election as a possible Prime Minister. Now, the elephant in the room, I'm not being rude, I mean I'm sort of using the euphemism, the elephant in the room is this particular gentleman, and here's a skill I didn't know. Thailand's multi-talented health minister sees clear skies but choppy political waters below. There he is. Did you know that Anutin is a pilot? So Thai Rath featured the multiple talents of the Thai Deputy Prime Minister and Public Health Minister Anutin, and there he is. He apparently owns 2 private jets. These are things I did not know about this gentleman. And he's got a Cirrus something or other, and that's worth 22 million baht, and a TMB something or other that he acquired in 2016 for 139 million baht, according to his assets declaration. So he's not just a pilot, he's actually got 2 jets. One of them I noted that he's flown all the way to London via a few stops along the way. So he's done a few miles as well. There he is getting out of his plane. I suspect that photo might have been taken a few years ago. He's a little bit heavier now. Anutin is the son of businessman and politician Chao Phraya, who served under many governments in the mid-90s. Down the bottom there it says, with strong political connections, adding to a will to win, who is to say that Anutin will not be landing at an airport near you as PM. Suspect if he does become PM, they'll clip his wings and try and stop him flying. But he is obviously one of the potential front runners. And as I've said all along, when this election happens, it's very likely that the 2 opposition parties, the Per Thai Party and the Move Forward Party, their combined votes will surpass 50% of the total number of votes. If that happens, I'm very sure that the Bumjai Thai Party, led by Anutin Charvirakun, will jump ships, and his deal would be, I'll give you my votes if you give me the top job. That's just one of the scenarios that might happen next year, but there he is, another prime ministerial candidate. Let's move on to another story from ASEAN Now this morning. Vicious teacher who beat student black and blue let off because he's close to retirement. So the story claims You're about to see a pretty nasty photo, so turn away if you are likely to be worried or offended by this. So this shows a photo of this boy's bare bottom, and clearly he's been struck very, very hard, black and blue bruises. I'm not sure if you were a parent, you'd be taking this quite as lightly as this parent seemed to. A father who went online to show the horrendous injuries his son suffered at school at the hands of a teacher decided to stop short of reporting the incident to police. Instead, and perhaps strangely, he took to social media. But this is the way that a lot of people do things these days. They're concerned that the police may not take action, so they take it into their own hands and try and get some sort of social media justice instead. The second paragraph there, his own P5 son told him that the teacher was close to retirement, and he admitted that he'd submitted 3 sets of homework late. Well, if 3 sets of late homework is punishable in that manner, I would have been beheaded several times at school. The class teacher has reportedly admitted what he did. Many netizens agreed that this was well over the top. Others say they'd been hit by the teacher concerned at the well-known city school. Well, given the evidence that's now before them, I would suggest the police probably need to take some action, and close to retirement or not, this teacher's days are over in the classroom. To our next story, and I've sort of had to copy and paste this one from Nikkei.Asia because I don't have a subscription and I couldn't access the story on another device. Anyway, I did a bit of copy and pasting this from Nikkei.Asia. And it says, in September, an Indian businessman became the first Asian to rank second in the global list of billionaires. The proportion of the world's richest people who are Asian is steadily increasing. Region by region analysis of assets owned by more than 2,400 people on the Forbes real-time billionaire list showed 4.7 trillion in North America as of Thursday, followed by 3.5 trillion in Asia and 2.4 trillion in Europe. And when it comes to the number of billionaires, Asia had 951, comfortably outnumbering all the other regions. North America has 777, Europe 536. And it notes, of course, that Asia has 60% of the world's population compared to just 4% in the US and less than 10% in Europe. So where exactly is a lot of that wealth sitting in Asia? You might be surprised. Here you go. Wealth value held by the top 1%. Obviously, a lot of it in China, and then India, then the US and Japan. So the Chinese billionaires are much more wealthy billionaires than any other parts of the world. Quite amazing. And you can see there Elon Musk, who, by the way, looks like he is going to go ahead, well, so he said yesterday, to purchase Twitter. So that's all back on again, as the two parties were going to come together in the next week or so in court. Looks like Elon Musk has taken the decision that he probably will go ahead and buy Twitter anyway. A few billion here, a few billion there, probably you won't even notice. But there he is, number one in the stakes of the most wealthy billionaires, owning some 254 billion. Then we've got that Indian gentleman in the number 2 spot. Bernard Arnault and family is the third richest billionaire. He owns Moet and Louis Vuitton, I think. Anyway, he's obviously done quite well out of luxury goods. And then you can see all the others as we go down the page, the people who are registered as billionaires. That story from Forbes and Nikkei.Asia. To our next story now, and we've got a photo on The Nation of the Thai tourism minister. And it says that Thai tourism targets high-spending travellers from Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan. Now, if somebody 10 years ago said that Thailand was going to be courting tourists to come from Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan, I would have said, you're insane. But this is happening. Why is it happening? Well, these countries have shown some interest in coming to Thailand, and of course a lot of other tourists aren't coming to Thailand, so we'll take the tourists from anywhere. Thank you very much. The story says in the third paragraph that Air Astana will launch direct daily flights into Bangkok and Phuket, expanding from the current 3 flights per week. Meanwhile, Sunday Airlines will also add new flights this winter from major Kazakh cities. Meanwhile, Sunday Airlines will also add new flights this winter from major Kazakh cities. That story goes on there in that last paragraph, saying that the ministry has reduced its tourism revenue target for this year from 1.5 trillion to 1.28 after lower than expected bookings. Next year it expects the revenue of 2.4 trillion baht from an estimated 20 million foreign visitors. So that 20 million travellers into Thailand would be the same as around about half or 50% of the people that came through the turnstiles back in 2019, the last year of full tourism in Thailand. So good luck. But isn't that amazing? Now the highest number of travellers from any country are from Malaysia. Then you've got India, and then you've got countries like Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, who are making up quite high proportions of the current tourists coming into Thailand. I mean, it's slightly exciting to have all these new countries discovering Thailand and coming here, adding to, of course, the wealth of tourism we've had from Western countries over the years, coming and discovering the delights of Thailand. And we've got another story talking about Bangkok scoring a top 5 position in the world's best places for expats to live. This from Phuket-go.com. And here we are, the top 10 places that you could... So here we are, the top 10 places for expats according to the survey. And I'll put a link to the survey in the description under this video in case you'd like to have a further read of the details of why each of these cities are good, more expensive. It talks about living costs, it talks about opportunities for employment, and you can see that 2 of them, number 1 and number 5, are in Asia or Southeast Asia. Kuala Lumpur number 1, Bangkok coming in at number 5. The scores on the side there, not a lot of difference between the top 5. Tbilisi in Georgia. Once again, we're seeing a lot of these countries that we didn't hear a lot about, say, 20 or 30 years ago, now coming into our lexicon as places with growing wealth, growing middle classes, and growing opportunities, of course, for expats. And you've got Lisbon and Dubai. Lisbon in Portugal often comes up in the list of the top 10 places for expats around the world. And you've got a whole lot of other European cities there in that list. So a link of that list in our description today. So with that, thank you very much for dropping in on TNT today, and thank you very much to Breakfast Story for allowing me to come. This is one of 3 places they have. They've got one in Phrom Phong, they've got this one here near Asok, and they've got one in Plon Chit as well. So I consider this place probably the best breakfast in Bangkok. There's a trick though, that all 3 of their locations are quite difficult to find, although if you type Breakfast Story into your Google machine, you'll find where they are. They haven't paid me to say this. I do consider them a really good place to come, a great breakfast and great staff if you're looking for a really good breakfast here in Bangkok. And with that, I thank you for dropping in. Thank you to 5 Star Marine. Thank you for your time. Please subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you tomorrow.